Good morning, everyone. Today we will discuss about the timeline of Middle English period. Middle English period is a vast time from 1066 to 1500 AD. So there are so many things to take note and so many things to discuss about the major incidents and major happenings that form Middle English period. Okay? So, with the victory of William of Normandy, French culture became the heart of English civilization. We all know that though English was not killed, it was just suppressed and dominated. It was pushed aside, and French culture, French language became the dominant power. William reigned from 1066 to 1087. And we can divide Middle English period in two parts. Anglo-Norman period, age of Chaucer. Again, we can divide this age of Chaucer in two parts. Age of Chaucer from Chaucer's birth to Chaucer's death, and then the later period as the early Renaissance or the revival or after Chaucer. That period that was just a preparation period for Renaissance. So we can divide Middle English period in different ways, and we have taught and talked about that in our earlier video, the first one about Middle English period. In that video, we emphasized on the division and distinction of Middle English period in different aspects. So now today, our attention and focus is in the different incident, different happenings. 1086 AD. That is earmarked for the publication of Doomsday Book. So what is Doomsday Book? Actually, Doomsday Book was just like chronicle, just like some survey of lands, not survey of kingship, but survey of lands in England and Wales. And this Doomsday Book was patronized by William the First. In 1087, William the First died. Who was William First? William the Conqueror. For the winner of Battle of Hastings, who defeated Harold and gained the English throne. In 1095 AD, beginning of the Crusades, Holy War that we call, it was a religious war to recover Jerusalem and the Holy Land from Muslim clashes in 11th to 13th century. A long dragging war, you can see. For the Christians, it was a war. Sorry, there is a mistake. It is a war to protect Christianity, and for the Muslims, it was a combat against Western barbarity. The different perspective of viewing a worship. In 1170 AD, it is important for the martyrdom of Thomas Becket. Henry II wanted to control the Roman Catholic Church in England, and this led to the conflict between Henry II and Thomas Becket, the Archbishop of Canterbury. Later, he was murdered by Henry II's soldier. 1215. It is very important. Magna Carta was signed by King John. It was the first step towards the democratic process in England. It was called the Great Charter. It was a revolutionary happening that changed the political history of England. King was not above the law. Common people safeguard their right through this charter. 1315 to 1317. The famine, climate change, excessive rainfall for 3 years in Europe, and it caused the failure of crops, and it resulted poverty, starvation, and deaths of peasants. Mostly peasants and working class faced the fatality of this famine. Always in any disaster, we find that the common people and the working class has to face the disaster in more severe way than the other privileged classes. 1337 to 1453 AD, 100 years war between England and France. Again a dragging and long drawn war. It covered the reign of 5 English kings. It started with Edward III and ended with Henry VII. Now, this is the age of Chaucer, 1340 to 1400 AD. Chaucer was born in 1340 and died in 1400. He was the most renowned and influential writer of his age. Again, a disaster is happening, that is Black Death or bubonic plague. 1348, 1349. This is the first attempt. But this bubonic plague 4 times came then in England and surrounding Europe and ravaged the whole population. It is an epidemic that was caused by the fleas from infected rats. The rats are black, that's why it is called Black Death. It is a highly contagious disease that erased 1/3 of the population. 1381. Famine, Black Death, high taxes of 100 years war made the common life unbearable, and it resulted the peasants' revolt. Actually, due to the feudal system, we have already seen when we discuss about the Middle English political and social scenario, there we find the feudal system where the peasants and workers are at the bottom of the triangle and they are oppressed by the tires that is above them, and they are oppressed by the barons, the knights, the kings, and they are just carrying the all burden of the warfare, high taxes, and this continuous oppression and deprivation led them to rebellion. And the leaders, the most important name is Wat Tyler. Sometimes it is also called Tyler's Rebellion. And others are Straw and John Ball. In John Gower's Vox Clamantis, this revolt is described in detail. It is an important point to note that in John Gower's Vox Clamantis we will get the detailed description of this 1381's war rebellion. Now we will talk about John Wycliffe and the Lollards movement. We already know that in medieval Europe, the Roman Catholic Church was at the supreme power. And sometimes with the Roman Catholic Church, kingship also had get in conflict. Just about to read that Henry II's conflict with Thomas Becket. So, John Wycliffe is a name that is related with the early Reformation of England. John Wycliffe, born in 1320 and died in 1384, he opposed many corrupted and duplicate practices of the church and the lives of outrageous pomp and profligacy in stark contrast to the penury of common people, whereas common people are lived under poverty, below poverty, deprived, depressed, suppressed. They are getting just humiliated and they are died in famine, in warfare, in suffering. On the other hand, the priest and church clergymen are living a luxurious life. So he is regarded as the predecessor of Protestant idealism in England, and his followers are known as Lollards. And their anti-clerk movement, that is long from 1300 to 1500, is known as Lollards movement. Again, John Wycliffe is famous for another reason. He, along with his followers, translated Bible. John Wycliffe was associated with the Oxford University. He was a man and scholar of Oxford University. And he understood the thing that if common people cannot be bring back into the limelight of education, there will be no prosperity in the country. He wanted to translate the Bible in a vernacular language so that common people can read it. Otherwise, it was written in Latin, far from the comprehensibility of the common people. So that's why he, along with his followers, translated Bible in 1382. He was hailed as the morning star of Reformation and evening star of scholasticism by the historian John Bell. 1415, the Battle of Agincourt. Again another battle. In 1453, the most important and landmark year of this age, that is fall of Constantinople, Renaissance. It is told and it is claimed that fall of Constantinople just accelerated the Renaissance in the Europe. So it is very important to note that 1453 AD is marked as the time of fall of fall of Constantinople. In 1455 to 1485 AD, that is the War of Roses between the royal houses of Lancaster, that is symbolic of red rose, symbolizes through red rose, and York, that is white rose. So two royal houses. The war was between two royal houses, between Lancaster and York. Lancaster represent red rose and York the white rose. 1476 AD. Again a revolutionary happening. That also is added the speed of Renaissance. Renaissance is associated with knowledge, humanity, illumination, development, and capstone printing press is the most important mechanism in Renaissance, because through capstone printing press numerous books got published and the light of education and knowledge just spread over the Europe. Now 1485 AD, Sir Thomas Malory's La Morte Arthur was published from capstone printing press. The effect of Renaissance: discovery, invention. 1492 AD, Columbus discovered America. And 1498 AD, Vasco da Gama reached Indian shore. 1500, around 1500 AD, the Dutch philosopher Erasmus published his views on humanism. So we will now end with Erasmus's humanism, because we have promised to discuss from 1066 to 1500 AD. These are the major incidents, but apart from these, there are so many minor incidents, but we must keep our grief over these things and try to remember all these years and events. Okay, thank you.